Hey Libra, how you guys doing? How is Scorpio season treating you? I'm guessing it's kind of been knocking you around a little bit, right? Like, I think all the signs have kind of been getting it for Scorpio season, but with you guys, especially because your ruling planet Venus is in Scorpio, like, I think it's been giving it to you, right? And what we're going to talk about here today, the way the new moon is affecting your sign, it's affecting all the signs in the sense of power, right? Like Scorpio is all about power, it's about intensity, right? And for a lot of the signs, it's about digging deep, figuring out what makes you powerful, what takes away your power. And for Libra, the way that's going to be showing up is in your sense of self worth, right? Like being empowered by really digging deep and getting in touch with your self worth, getting in touch with your gifts, what you have to offer. First card out, central situation, the sun. I'm so happy to see this, right? Because as we're talking about Venus and Scorpio, Scorpio kind of gives Venus, that warm, lovely planet, like a little bit of a hard edge, right? It might have, that's why I said it might have been knocking you around a little bit in terms of your financial situation, in terms of love, all those things that Venus represents, right? And then also your sense of self worth. Venus is about beauty, Libra is about beauty. So to see the sun coming out first as the central situation, like this is a real promising sign for you, right? This is getting at like the idea that when we're talking about how Libra is feeling, that this is kind of like makes me feel like we're going to a good place, right? But the sun is about happiness, it's about joy, it's about like everything positive, but sometimes it's also about like shedding light on a thing, right? It's about like truth coming to the surface. Again, another thing that Scorpio is all about: truth, honesty, like going through the bullshit. And Libra is not one for lies, right? Going through the bullshit and getting to the core of an issue, right? So I think what we're doing here, guys, is we're getting to the core of like what makes you happy and what makes you feel good about yourself, right? And again, with Venus in Scorpio, you guys are a relationship sign. A lot of your self worth, your validation, the things that make you happy comes from your relationships. And that could be a really beautiful thing, but it also can be trying, right? When your relationships aren't going well, when people aren't giving you that validation that you're seeking, like it can kind of like do the opposite of what the sun is, right? Like it can kind of hurt in the way that the sun is like optimistic, right? And then what's the first card that comes out as the basis here? The lovers, right? So I was kind of thinking about this, and I knew we were gonna do a reading that was based in self worth, just because of what's going on in the cosmos for you guys. Um, and I kind of wanted to do about love, right? I kind of wanted it to be based on what you guys are going to be seeing in your love life for this next moon cycle, right? Until the end of December. So far, I mean, we have the sun and we have the lovers. First of all, two major arcana cards starting us off tonight. So this means like big things happening, big transitions happening. But also, like with the lovers, yeah, we're talking about perfectly what we're talking about here now, right? With Libra, like relationships, but also your relationship with yourself and how that extends to your like romantic relationships, right? Because the lovers is a card about harmony between people, but also harmony like within yourself, right? Like the lovers can be seen as like two aspects of yourself. It's the card of Gemini. The two twins of Gemini, like we're not separate people. These are two elements of us. I'm Gemini, right? So Libra, like this is really again promising. Like this is speaking to your sense of self, your sense of worth within yourself, right? Like how you feel good about yourself and how that's going to affect like your relationships going forward. I want to say like to the end of the year we're looking at here, right? And I thought the topic of self worth was interesting. Like I almost feel like anybody can watch it. It's such a peculiar thing, right? Like there are times when you just feel great, and this extends to all the signs, right? There are times when you feel great about yourself and like infallible and unstoppable, And then just when like that's happening, sometimes you feel like undermined. Like one thing somebody says, one person does something to you, and then all of a sudden that confidence you had, that like self esteem, that self assurance goes crumbling. Right? Have you ever been like single and like feeling yourself and like confident and unstoppable and like I don't need anybody, and then all of a sudden you meet somebody, right? And then that person is making you feel insecure. Ooh, does he like me? Oh, does she think I'm attractive? Like, where did all that confidence go? Where did all that self worth go that attracted that person to you, right? Hey, strength is next. I'm gonna take the next one too because it kind of popped up here. Like endless major arcana, guys. Like everything so far here, like this is going to be a big period for you guys. I feel like what's happening now is going to set the tone for 2018 and what's to come, right? Like the work we do when the new moon is in a sign, like you kind of see that manifest when the full moon is in your sign, and that's going to be around May, right? In Gemini season or Taurus season, close. But we have strength and we have judgment, right? Strength is about like harnessing control. Like this is to me right now a very solitary card. This is a card that shows Libra kind of like owning themselves. You know, like right now to me that lion that she's holding on to is sort of Libra's sense of self, sense of pride, sense of confidence, right? Like Leo. But like again, I don't want to be too hard on you guys. Like just thinking about Leo, like yeah, they're a sign of pride and like feeling great and needing to be the star, but they like flourish when they have praise, right? So this isn't just something that like Libra struggles with. Like everybody does at a point, but I think the point is here is like right now, this is where your attention needs to be focused. You know, like sometimes Libra is all about the aesthetics of like the outside world, being beautiful, having beautiful things, having a beautiful home, right? And it's not like superficial. It's just like what makes you feel good. It's that Venus energy, the warm fuzzies. Like when you can sit back and look around you and see like how comfortable everything is. Libra feels good. And then we have judgment, a call to a new way of being, a call to a new life, like rising to a challenge and like changing your life, right? So what I want to say, like with all this major arcana here, guys, I feel like this is going to be kind of like a good spiritual, emotional time for you, right? Like a time for Libra to really dig deep, right? So this isn't so far. I'm not looking at money here. I'm not looking at like anything else other than like your own personal progress, your own sense of worth, your own sense of happiness, and Libra's going to have to go inward for that, right? Like we have Saturn and Capricorn coming up, and like then you're gonna have to do a lot of work, right? You're gonna have to like focus on your money and getting your financial house in order and looking at your career and looking at all those like material things, right? But I think what this is saying here is this is how you prepare for that, right? Because again, we're talking about Scorpio and it's about power, and this Libra is about you being empowered, you finding empowerment, like nonstop major arcana guys, like big things happening. The High Priestess. What did I just say about going deep? What did I just say about a time of spirituality and spiritual depth and like going within and fixing within? I want to say, right? The High Priestess is all about like reflection and meditation and spiritual growth and spiritual advancement. Like, hey, 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 non-stop major arcana, like big deal. And I love that the sun is the central situation here because this kind of feels like the culmination of all this stuff we're talking about, of like the radiating outwards of this like inner strength, this inner journey, this like the sun is almost at the end of the journey of the tarot, of the major arcana, right? The only card that comes after it is like judgment, which is the new life, and then the world, which is the completion. So I even want to get a little literal here, guys. Like I think when it comes to the summertime or like even just like the spring, I feel like there's going to be an awakening, right? I feel like you kind of maybe have to be okay with doing long-term work here, of kind of going within right now and asking yourself like serious questions about like what you need to get you here, right? And I don't mean material. Like, sure, if like your finances is weighing on you, if like you know you don't have a good living situation, if you know you have a crappy car or whatever it may be, like that's weighing on you, sure, fine. But like those things are minutia because like when you kind of build yourself up, when you build up your own power and your self-esteem and your like sense of worth, like all those things are going to be fixable, all those things are going to be addressed. And I love the sun card in this deck because like if you look at surrounding the sun, you have all these people like holding hands all intertwined, right? And like what a good Libra energy here like we were talking about when we're talking about like the lovers and balance and how like being good and solid and like radiating from within like surrounds you with people, surrounds you with like good relationships, happy relationships, right? Like yeah, anyone at any time can relate to the idea of like being magnetic and like being all about yourself. And I don't want to emphasize like the solitude though, you know. I don't want to emphasize like you know that thing that you say to single people where it's like you have to work on yourself, whatever. Like yeah, that's true, but like let's not let the focus be on that right now. Let the focus be on this growth, on this transition, on like looking ahead to the next year. And let's even say the next year is like until your next birthday, right? Like one revolution of the sun from your season, right? Where do you want to be on your birthday? What do you want your life to look like? More importantly, like how do you want to feel? You know, like that's kind of an element of manifestation, of manifesting things that is kind of overlooked, right? We always think about like visualizing like the material things, how we want things to look, but we don't really think of how we want to feel, and that's extremely powerful. That's where like the mojo kicks in. That's where you get the emotional impetus that like really fuels you to like make things happen by going in, right? And like doing those visualizations and like putting yourself in those mentalities, right? Because sometimes like we visualize things and things don't really turn out the way that we think they're going to. Like when in life does anything ever turn out the way you think you want to? But you know, I have the meditation instructor I go to. Like when you focus on the feeling, she talks about like focus on the feeling of what you want. Like that just opens it up to possibilities, right? And it's such like an it's inward in that way I'm talking about, where it's like who you want to be and what you want to be within. Like let's just say some like fucking law of attraction shit, right? Like how do you want to feel? Don't think about how you don't want to feel, right? Like if you want a relationship, don't think about the things you don't want in a relationship. Don't think about like the fuck boys you dealt with or like fuck girls or hoes in different area codes who've been just like they teach you about what you don't want, but like that brings you closer to like being able to manifest what you do, right? And that's not a card of manifestation per se, the high priestess, but it's like the starting point to me right now, right? It's about getting yourself in this place. When you have self-esteem, you just like kind of naturally want to do good things for yourself. It comes naturally. You know, like you want to eat better. Like the idea of gross food when you're like working out and feeling yourself is like so easy to overcome. When you're not feeling good, like you don't care. You let things go. You don't address things. You know, you don't feel good enough about yourself to fight for yourself. You don't feel good enough about yourself to like actually draw in like successful, happy relationships. Like you're unempowered. Like you ever feel depressed and like how weak that makes you feel? How like you don't have the energy even to just like deal with life? This is like your inner reserves here, this lion, guys. This is what's lurking beneath the surface and what you need to tap into, right? And that's not about just like feeling yourself. I don't want to emphasize like the harsher elements of a lion of like being like strong and you know ferocious. I want to like the regal sense of like yeah, I'm sexy. Look at my mane. You know, so maybe we're even talking about later, like I said, summertime. Maybe we're looking at Leo season when we start to see things manifesting, which is perfect because I said think about where you want to be on your birthday, right, Libra? Very, very encouraging. Like, I feel like this is the first reading I've done since I've been doing these on this channel, like, where I've just gotten major arcana so far. This to me is very spiritual, and I feel like if you're on this channel watching this, like, you can accept that, right? You can be spiritual. You can, like, go within. You can, like, do meditation. You can think about law of attraction. You can, like, hold on to a fucking crystal and, like, visualize intention, right? Like, it doesn't have to be religious or, like, crazy. Like, intention and law of attraction and, like, visualization, like, these are all things that extend to people who don't believe in this stuff. It doesn't stop. Justice. Okay, look at the one that we got, right? The one non-major so far. These are our two paths that we have here. Justice, your card, the empowered Libra card, right? This is you guys, like, flossing on your birthday, right? Like, being on your path. And then here, what do we have? The Nine of Swords. This fucking sucks. The one minor arcana card that showed up is one of the shittiest cards in the deck. It's an awful place to be. Have you been here, maybe, Libra? Is there potential for you to, like, end up here? Worrying? Anxious? Not knowing what to do or where to go? How about this way? Justice, where you're empowered, where you're on your path, where you're balanced and feel like, look at the way look at her face. Look at how she's holding that, like, those scales high with that sword ready to go. Like, she's empowered. She's feeling good. Justice is Libra card, but it's also about karma and, like, what's right and honesty and truth. And to me, always a card of, like, being on the correct path, like course correcting. So when you have Saturn in Capricorn, like, that's going to be some course correcting happening, right? And because Saturn is, like, the teacher, it's the harsh ruler, right? It's the one that, like, puts us where we're supposed to be. And it hurts a little bit, but it's where we're supposed to be. So the material stuff, guys, I think that's going to come. That's going to come later, right? That's going to come in the new year at the end of December when Saturn enters Capricorn. Like, I want to say, like, that's your time to focus on that stuff. Not to, like, ignore it right now, but, like, that's, like, spiritually, if you want to be, like, in a good place, if you're figuring out, like, what guidance you need or, like, where you should be putting your energies right now, feeling good, right? And it's okay if you want to, like, feel good by, like, buying nice clothes or, like, taking nice trips, but, like, that stuff is superficial, right? Like, that stuff does make us feel good, but it's not, like, what, like, makes us feel good at the core of ourselves, right? Like, that stuff I'm also feeling will come when you feel good. When you get yourself to this, like, place in the sun, then you might be lounging on a beach somewhere, like, feeling your oats. I really feel like the summer is a time for you to look forward to and, like, prepare yourself for, right? Like, for this winter time, like, it's a good time to be in the High Priestess zone of reflecting, of introspection, of planning, of thinking, of going deep, meditating, right? And then in the spring, this to me is your springtime, right? Like, this is where you start to, like, come out of what you've been in, where you have this and you have this peace and harmony within yourself. And then you start to thrive. Like, the sun is thriving. The sun is success. The sun is, like, everything good, abundance, success, happiness, joy, fun. Like, could you use a little fun, Libra? Like, I don't mean to be a jerk about it, but could you use a little fun? Could you, like, get out of this? Have you been, like, beating yourself up and, like, stuck in this place of just, like, nastiness? Okay, so we'll pull some outcome cards here. Like, it just seriously doesn't stop. Temperance, balance. Like, this is like the third card here that kind of suggests balance and harmony. But to me, temperance is you guys doing the work. Like, you doing the reflection. Like, the flowing water between his cup is kind of like getting out of the stagnation that was here, where nothing is happening, where it's just kind of like all your energy is kind of getting sucked out of you and kind of rotting away, right? Like, again, when we're talking about timelines, like right now he's stationary, but like there's this path laid out in front of him for greatness, right? So balance yourself, Libra. Like, fix, like, I want to say fix the place. Like, if your like heart was like a wall, like it's time to start plastering up some of those holes. That's what I think of when I think of temperance right now for you. Filling those gaps, filling the void with real stuff. Like, not filling the void with like distractions or like relationships to take your mind out of it, because any relationship that's built on that foundation is not going to end up well. That's asking for codependency. But like, standing firmly on your own 2 feet, being like full from the inside out, is going to move you forward. Is going to take you on this path, right? Where you're feeling strong. Like, feeling strong, feeling in control of yourself. That's what I was saying before about relationships sometimes. It's like when you put so much stock in another person, like you kind of deprive yourself of control over yourself and your own emotions and your own heart, right? Like, think of the aesthetics, think of Venus. Like, Venus will be out of Scorpio soon, that harshness will be out of here, and then get back to like feeling good. Like what I was saying about buying stuff, like maybe don't blow your money, but take nice baths, like luxuriate a little bit, like pamper yourself. It literally won't stop. The Wheel of Fortune, the major arcana, like, guys, I'm a little like speechless. Like, I've never experienced this before. It's like the universe, like the cards are just saying, like they're supporting you. It feels like you have all this powerful energy, and like if you've been going through it, like things are about to change. Remember what I said about like how once we get this to the springtime, like all those material things will start falling into place if you're good here. Like, this is like Libra getting out of this, right? If you've been stuck here, Libra, like as your second outcome card, we have the Wheel of Fortune, like a change in fortune. And sometimes this can mean like good going to bad, but I'm not feeling that here. Because I'm feeling that this is like all these cards are like forward motion for you, like progress, like the wheel is turning in your favor. Extremely promising. Really, really promising. Alright, I'll let that one come out. Last but not least, we have the Prince of Cups. Hello, lover. Am I right? Or am I right? Like, I think in a previous reading, this was like the fuckboy card. And you should still, like, watch out for this fuckboy. But, like, right now, he's feeling like romantic. And if you're a man watching this, it's like, it's still just that energy, right? That romantic energy. That passion. So if you're a man and if you don't relate to, like, this being someone who comes into your life, like, think of yourself as this way. This is like being passionate and sexy and like feeling your oats and like being creative and like all that emotional turmoil and like mental strain. Like, you're riding above it. You're triumphing. A beautiful card of triumph, Libra. Like, this is where I see you guys going. Like a fresh start. Like, the prince is like somewhere in the middle between like the page or the princess in my deck, or the king, where it's like mastery and beginning. Like this is like being on your path to love, on your path to romance. Like remember what I said about this wanting to be a love reading? Like it's becoming that. When we end on this note, on holy crap. All right, so I was gonna say before when I was talking about the plastering the holes and like feeling full from the inside, like the only card that could like really get at that the best would be what? The world. Bottom of the deck. The world. Not only a major arcana card, but like the card I was thinking of when I was talking about filling yourself up from the inside out. That's what the world is. Complete and thorough emotional fulfillment, spiritual fulfillment, right? Like every card here, we have 10 out here and call this 11. We have one minor, and then we have a court card. Everything else is major, and look what we have underlying it all: the world, completion, fulfillment, like the end of your spiritual journey, but like only the beginning in a way, right? Like within her, she has like a fetus, and like coming out of her is the spiral, which is just like renewing energy, right? A new start. Her third eye is open. Like I want to say that to you guys, like introspection, intuition, right? Just like thinking, like I think it's not going to be hard for you guys to get in touch with what you need right now. This is a beautiful reading, Libra. Like I am blown away by this. Like blown away. It feels like very magical. And if you don't like that word, like it feels really spiritual. It feels like guided by something bigger. Very cool. Like super cool. Right? But like keep in mind guys, like this is big work. This is big work. Like the energies are there for you to like take hold of this and make this happen, but like you have to put the effort in. Like you can't be lazy, Libra. I'm sorry to say it that way, but like you can't be lazy with like your emotions. You can't like sit around waiting for things to get better. Like you can't just like keep hoping something's going to get better, because this is all about empowerment and taking hold of your life. Taking a hold of yourself, taking responsibility for your own emotions, taking responsibility for how your heart feels. Right? Because people can hurt you and that's understandable, but like at a point we have to take responsibility for like how we feel. Evolution, change, embracing like the beauty of like who you are and who you could be, and like really bringing it to the next level. Like this is like Libra leveling up, you know, like with the world too, like in all these majors, like this is a new life waiting for you. Not just a new life, like again, I feel like that comes later. I feel like this is a new way of being, a new sense of self. This is so cool. I'm really happy for you guys. Like I'm really happy to see like where things can be for you. Like if Scorpio's been knocking you around, like it's okay because it's about to end. Things are about to change. That's the beauty of Scorpio, right? And sometimes we can get lost in the intensity of it. But I know for me personally, like the ways it's knocked me around has made me grow. Scorpio's transformation, right? So like even though that power is like tough and intense, like it's transformational. Creativity. So with the spider, right? We're talking about that thing I was saying before about like the aesthetics of your environment and like actually creating a space and like a feeling of like goodness, right? Like, do you ever do that? Do you ever just like intentionally like light a candle or some incense or whatever it may be for you and just like consciously put yourself in this like state of like luxury and like good feels? That's part of what the spider is, right? It's creativity. Stupid cat. You guys didn't see that. um, she was clawing something. The couch. Um, the spider is about like artistic creativity, but it's also about like the story of your life and the creativity of like who you are and how you live. Sorry about that. My phone ran out of storage space. So we're just gonna do one more oracle card, and then we're gonna go ahead and take a look at all these cards together, so you can see kind of how everything plays out here. Last but not least, Libra, the Wild Woman, one of my favorite cards, one of my favorite energies in this deck. Just running free, just like being strong, being your true self, and like living life. Right? This is what's coming for you guys. Freedom. Freedom of spirit. Right? Look at how self assured and confident and just like in herself she is. I love this for you guys. I love that you can just be like free. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the cards now. Alright, so you see how everything is laid out. Here we have the sun above all of this energy here. And look at all these major arcana cards, guys. Big spiritual transformation. But it all starts with harmony and taking control of yourself and responsibility for yourself. And like listening to your instincts and your emotions and your intuition and letting that guide you forward, right? Into a new life, into new change, into like meeting your needs and satisfying like your heart center, right? Of owning your karma, right? That's part of what like this balancing is, right? That filling the holes is like owning your karma, both good and bad, right? What you've created for yourself, like take responsibility for it and fix what needs to be fixed, correct what needs to be correct, and get yourself out of here, right? Because look what's waiting for you. Transformation, love, like the ability to like create the life you want, to change everything, to start over fresh. It's really beautiful spread, really beautiful energy here. All right, Libra, so I hope that was helpful to you. I hope that like you can really take hold of the Scorpio energy like it's leaving. We're about to be in Sagittarius, right? So embrace like the lessons that you've gone through, embrace the hurt, embrace the pain, recognize how it's helped you and transformed you and led you to become more powerful, and use the upcoming Sag season of optimism, of like idealism, of like lots of fun and gusto to like push yourself forward, to like heal what Scorpio's kind of wrecked in you, you know, and move forward. Because as you saw, like that's what's waiting for you, like big moves forward in the new year, right? But like the rest of this year, the rest of 2017 is going to require you to do some inner work. So do the work. All right, guys, I love you mucho, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, like, and commenting. You guys have been amazing, and I really, really appreciate it. All right, thank you again. Take care of yourself. Be good.